Dust devils at Dead Man's Gulch. The sun was a mean old rattler, spitting fire across the cracked hide of Dead Man's Gulch. Every shimmer off the parched earth was a tiny, mocking laugh, a testament to the unforgiving nature of this land. Sheriff Jedediah Jed McGraw, a man with more years behind him than a weathered fence post had rings, squinted into the shimmering horizon. His eyes, the color of faded denim, had seen a lifetime of hard times and harder men. His boots, scuffed and worn from decades of chasing trouble across alkali flats and through thorny canyons, crunched over the thirsty earth like the slow ticking of a deathwatch clock. Each step was a deliberate act, a defiance of the sun's oppressive heat and the grim whisper of the wind. Jed's hands, gnarled as twisted mesquite roots, hovered near the worn butt of his Colt .45. They were hands that knew the weight of a gun, the tension of a standoff, and the cold reality of a life lived on the razor's edge. The town behind him was a ghost's whisper, shutters drawn tight against the glare and the impending storm, folks hiding like prairie dogs from a hawk's shadow. A palpable fear hung in the air, thick and oppressive as the dust. Trouble had blown in on the midnight wind, not a whisper, but a raw, chilling howl, and it wore the face of Silas Snakebite Boone, a gunslinger whose reputation preceded him like a swarm of locusts, a man with a heart colder than a well-digger's toes in the dead of winter. The air was thick with the metallic scent of gun oil and the heavy perfume of old regrets. Jed's mind, sharp despite the years, wandered to the days when his hair was as wild as a tumbleweed caught in a gale and his trigger finger quicker than a jackrabbit on the run. He remembered the thrill of the chase, the adrenaline surge, the raw energy of his youth. Now, every step felt like wading through molasses, each muscle a protest against the inevitable slowing of time. But his spirit, forged in the crucible of 100 showdowns, was still as sharp as a cactus spine, unyielding and resilient. A dust devil, a miniature whirlwind of the Gulch's ancient secrets, twisted down the main street, dancing like the ghosts of outlaws past, a mocking ballet of the inevitable. Jed spat into the dirt, the sound a dry, raspy cough. His voice, gravelly as a dry creek bed after a decade-long drought, cut through the silence. "Ain't no man, nor devil, gonna run me off my land," he muttered, his eyes, hard as flint, fixed on the distant, shimmering heat. Snakebite Boone swaggered into view, emerging from the shimmering heat like a mirage made flesh. His black duster swayed with his confident stride, and the spurs on his boots jingled a discordant death knell, a tune only the doomed could hear. His face was a chiseled mask of disdain, eyes like chips of obsidian that reflected no light, no empathy. The two men locked eyes across the dusty expanse. One a weathered relic of law, the other a sleek, venomous harbinger of chaos. The silence that descended was not peaceful, but a coiled rattlesnake, ready to strike, its scales shimmering with tension. "Reckon you're too old for this, Sheriff," Boone sneered, his words slick as snake oil, dripping with condescension. A faint, almost imperceptible smirk played on his lips, a challenge thrown into the teeth of an old lion. Jed's lips curled into a slow, knowing grin, the kind that held a lifetime of wisdom and a hint of weary amusement. "Son, I was old when you were still wet behind the ears and crying for your mama. Out here, age ain't a curse, it's armor. Every wrinkle is a lesson learned, every scar a battle won." His voice, though rough, carried the weight of undeniable truth. The ancient clock tower, a stoic sentinel overseeing the Gulch, struck noon, its chimes echoing through the silence like the final toll of judgment. The sound seemed to hang in the air, a precursor to the storm. In a blur of sun and sweat, faster than the human eye could track, guns roared, a sudden, thunderous clap that ripped through the oppressive quiet of the prairie. When the dust, momentarily disturbed by the concussive force of the shots, settled back onto the sun-baked earth, Boone lay sprawled like a broken scarecrow, his black duster fanned out around him, still and lifeless. And Jed stood tall, a monument of resilience, the last oak in a dying forest, his silhouette a testament to enduring strength. As the townsfolk, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and profound relief, crept from their hiding holes, like ground squirrels emerging from their burrows after a hawk has passed, Jed tipped his hat, a gesture of quiet victory and respect. His silhouette, strong and unwavering, was etched against the burning sky, a beacon of justice in a harsh land. "Ain't about how fast you draw," he called, his voice echoing across the silent street, "it's about how long you stand." And as the sun dipped low, painting the Gulch in shades of blood and gold, a canvas of triumph and sacrifice, the legend of Sheriff Jed McGraw grew roots deeper than any tumbleweed could ever wander. His story became the whispers on the wind, the solace in the dark, reminding every man with silver in his hair that the West still belonged to those with grit in their soul, not just quickness in their hand. In the land where dust never settles and justice rides on the wind, a man's legacy is carved not by the years he's lived, but by the storms he's weathered and the unwavering spirit with which he faced them. It was a legacy of quiet strength, of duty unwavering, and of a man who, even when old, refused to be broken.